Hi, this is Christopher Sparrow from itechhere.org, and I've got a great unboxing today. It just be raining foldables at itechhere.org. I have got the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5. Again, you can see that I haven't opened this. I've waited for you guys, and I've been sitting on it all day long. Dressed for work. Let's go ahead. Let's open it up and see what's going on. All right. As I said, the Z Fold 5. All right. So the Fold 5 is a little slimmer. It's a little trimmer than last year's Fold. If you look at the dimensions and the specs, you'll see that the Samsung Z Fold 5 is 6.1 inches by 5.11 inches by 0.24 inches, where the Samsung Z Fold 4 is 0.01 inches wider, taller, and deeper than this year's version. All right. Folded, this thing is 6.1 by 2.64 by 0.53 inches. Last year, 6.11 by 2.64 by 0.62 inches. So this year's version is much more compact, and it's much 0.01. All right, trimmer than last year's. Package all nicely wrapped and folded. Nicely wrapped and folded and crinkly. Toilet tissue to get us going. It always comes unfolded in the box. It's always unfolded. And I have a feeling that we're going to find that at 8.92 ounces versus last year's 9.28 ounces, that not only is it slimmer, but it's trimmer than last year's version. All right. Unfolded, this thing's got a 7.6 inch dynamic OLED 2 cover, a 6.2 inch dynamic OLED times 2 inner display. All right. This is effectively the same as last year's. There's no difference. All right. The screen resolutions are exactly the same as last year's, although it is a little bit brighter than the Fold 4. All right. Fold 5, 374 pixels per inch, and last year 372 pixels per inch. So a few more pixels, a little more poomph behind the display. Again, 2 tabs to pull off and get us in. So let's go ahead and take a look. Opening this thing up, you get the same kind of deal inside the box with the Fold as you did with the Flip. Inside here, we're going to find the documentation, the getting started and warranty guide, as well as a charging cable and a SIM tool. All right. Now let's take a look at the actual device, because when you pull it out, there ain't nothing left in the box. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take this and we're going to put it over here. All right. So again, wrapped in that nice, lovely, wonderful sticky cellophane paper that's going to go ahead and provide just a little bit of support and a little bit of protection as we go in and we look at the device. Now, I'm going to start unfolded, and I've got the Fold 4 here also unfolded, and I'm going to turn this one off so that we can go ahead and not worry about any issues or problems with notifications or any other kind of application related issues. It just updated anyway. So last year I got the green, the slate green. This year, the light blue. All right. There is, aside from the very, very slight difference, these are about almost exactly the same. The 5 and the 4. 5 on the outside, 4 on the inside. The only real difference that you're going to see from the outside looking at these things is that the flash has moved from down here to over here on the side right next to the lenses as opposed to underneath. All right. That's really the only difference. All right. Unfolded. All right. Let's go ahead, though, and take a look at the creases on the back of the fold. Now, on the Fold 4, you're going to see that there is definitely a very thick line in between the two halves of the device. It's not as noticeable nor nearly as prominent on the Fold 5. I think we're going to find that the Fold 5 has the same folding capacity as the Flip. In other words, when folded shut, you got nothing, kids. There ain't no light coming through this thing. Ain't no light coming through this thing. And the hinge is updated, and just like on the Flip, same hinge technology. Whereas with the Fold 4, there's definitely a gap. You can see it splayed, all right, on the end. All right, you can see it splayed on the end versus the 5 where it's nearly flat and nothing is going to get through. This kind of thing is going to help really take and minimize that crease. Now you're going to see, as I said with the Flip 5 unboxing, this is a foldable. The screen folds in half. And regardless of what you do, so you can see it there, regardless of what you do, regardless of how you use this device, regardless of how wonderful that hinge technology might be, you're going to get a crease. There's no way around it. However, it is not nearly as prominent as it is on the 4. And the Fold 4 is a good phone. All right. But I mean, look, it's really noticeable comparatively. All right. It's really noticeable. You can see that thing right going. There's also good with none of the reflective crap on it. There, right there. There you can see it really, really well. Let's see if I can do the same kind of thing. You're still going to see it on the 5. No matter what you do, you're still going to see it on the 5. But, wow, hardly noticeable comparatively. All right. The hinge technology, the display technology, getting rid of that crease, it's getting there. It ain't there yet. And regardless of what happens, because the screen in and of itself does that, all right, you're going to get a crease. Over time, you're going to get a crease. Over the life of the device, that may become more prominent. Don't be upset. All right? It's going to be there. All right? Without a doubt, it's going to be there. So, I can tell you, though, that this thing is really very nice. Now, you got a free, when you order direct from Samsung, you got a free storage upgrade. You got twice the storage. So this is a 512 gigabyte storage device as opposed to a 256. Comes with 256, 512, or 1 terabyte worth of storage. All right. As with the previous folds, there's no SD card slot. All right, you've got Google Pay as well as Samsung Pay on this. This comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, whereas with the 4 Gen 1. All right, so you've got an updated processor in the Fold 5, and hopefully we're gonna be able to see the performance. All right, now what's really all that different? Man, the video is about the same. You've got 8K at 24 frames a second. You've got 4K UHD at both 30 and 60 frames a second. You've got 1080p FHD at 30 and 60 frames a second. You got 720p HD at 30 frames a second. Super slow mo at 720p at 960 frames per second, and slow motion 1080p at 240 frames per second, which is exactly the same as last year's model. All right. Camera wise, all right, the rear camera, 50 megapixel primary, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 10 megapixel ultra photo. No difference. All right. The front main camera display is a 4 megapixel under the display, and the cover screen has a 10 megapixel camera. All right. Really no difference. All right. They're exactly the same. All right. Bluetooth 5.3 for the Fold 5 as opposed to 5.2. It does come with USB-C. There is a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, so you can go by Face ID or Touch ID, if you will. It does have IPX8 water resistance. The battery, exactly the same as last year's, 4,400 milliamps, 25 watts charging, 10 watts wireless charging, 4.5 watts reverse wireless charging, so it will charge other devices for you. It does come in icy blue, which is what this is, phantom black, cream gray, blue, which are all Samsung exclusives. The prices are exactly the same, and that really is it, kids. So not as much of a really huge and big difference between the Fold 5 and the Fold 4. So if you've got a Fold 4, I would say probably, unless the crease is really killing you, kids. Unless the crease is really killing you, hold off. Hold off. All right, stick with the 4 and don't go with the 5. Even though the pricing, when you trade in the 4 to get the 5, you do get a nice little trade-in allowance there that might make it worth it. You're going to get about $1,000 trade-in on the Fold 4, going against what you've got coming at you with the Fold 5. Other than that, man, I mean, it is a little bit brighter. You've got that newer case from Samsung that'll hold the Slim Pen that will also be in the box that I put away earlier, along with the cord and the manuals and the SIM tool. Other than that, that pen is really something that is a little bit different. Let's take a look at it, okay? Before we go ahead and call this a day. So the pen. Now that I've retrieved the contents of the box, let's take a look and see about the pen. From what we've been able to see thus far, there is quite a difference between it and last year's pen. You see the face, right? I'm not exactly happy about this. The Galaxy Z Fold 5 supports a pen, but doesn't ship with one. It's a $55 add-on. Really, Samsung? $55 more for the pen. Really? Customers have just dropped nearly $2,000 on a foldable mini tablet, and you're going to charge them $55 more for a doggone pen. Really? This Disappointed. Did I mention that I was not really happy and that I was... All right, so let's get down to brass tacks. All right, what is the difference between the Fold 5 and the Fold 4? Yeah, it's a little bit slimmer. Yeah, it's a little bit trimmer. But the resolutions are the same. The camera's the same. The flash is moved. The pen, it's slimmer. I mean, the one from the 4 is very, very much like one of those toddler crayons, those big fat toddler crayons that you used to see if you were my age. All right, or they look, as opposed to a nice little thin colored marker, you've got the big dry erase markers, kind of like that thing. All right, but other than that, I mean, there really is no real huge big difference between the 4 and the 5, aside from the flash is moved, aside from it's, just a little bit, so that the cases, all the cases that are out there for the 4 won't fit the 5. All right. Think about that for a minute. That nice, really cool case that you bought last year for your Fold 4 that you want to be able to use for your Fold 5 because Samsung and because upgrades, you're going to have to buy a brand new case. It won't fit. It's just a smidge, just a cup too big for the device. So really, what's the difference? The processor and this free storage upgrade that you get from 256 to 512 if you buy directly from Samsung and maybe one or two of their partners, like maybe Best Buy or Amazon. All right. You may get that level of free storage upgrade from your carrier of choice if you decide to buy the device SIM locked, but don't hold your breath. Carriers are going to have their own deals and own enticements in order to be able to get you to come on board and pick the 5 over the 4, or to go ahead and jump on to their particular brand of service and offerings with the Fold 5. So there really isn't a lot of difference. And if you've got the Fold 4, I would probably have to say, you know what? Don't. Yes, it's got maybe a little bit more storage. A little bit. It's got twice maybe. All right. It's got a little bit more storage and it's got the better processor, but the camera's the same. All right. The resolutions are the same. The screen is the same. The pixel density might be just a tad bit more, 2 more pixels per inch. But other than that, they're identical devices. All right. So this is Christopher Spera with itechgear.org with a somewhat disappointing Samsung Z Fold 5 unboxing.